You ever get that feeling? That nagging sense that you're just spinning your wheels at work? I mean, you're good at your job, but the challenge is gone, the learning is kind of stopped, and the path forward is, well, it's just a big question mark. If any of that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. So if you're ready to trade that stuck feeling for a real, actual path forward, then you've come to the right place. Let's dive in.
Wow, this quote it really hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that specific kind of burnout. It's not about working too many hours. It's about pouring all your energy into a role that just doesn't fit anymore. It's that feeling of pushing a giant boulder uphill, only to realize you're on the wrong mountain entirely. That exhaustion, it's a huge signal, and we're going to learn how to listen to it. The million-dollar question, right? Do you just start polishing up the old resume? Do you keep your head down and just hope things get better on their own? Or is there a smarter, more strategic way to take back control? Well, the good news is there absolutely is, and that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
Okay, first things first, let's put a proper name to this feeling. Because what you're experiencing, it's not some personal failure. It's not a lack of ambition. It's a very real, very recognized professional phenomenon. And you know what? Just understanding it is the first real step to moving past it.
Now, this might sound a little clinical for something that feels so personal, but having the technical term, a career plateau, is actually really powerful. And honestly, in today's world, with flatter companies and tech changing on a dime, it's more common than ever. It's that point where you've basically stopped climbing, and you're just walking on flat ground, with no peak anywhere in sight. So before we can even think about a solution, we have to correctly diagnose the problem. Because, and this is super important, not all stuck feels the same or comes from the same place. The real key here is to figure out the specific type of plateau you're on, because the strategy to break free is going to be completely different depending on the cause. Let's break down the two big ones. On one side, you've got the structural plateau. This is when you're literally blocked by the ladder itself. There are just no higher positions to move into. Then, on the other side, there's the content plateau. This is when you're just plain bored by the rung you're on. You've mastered your job so completely that it offers zero challenge. So take a second. Does one of these sound a little too familiar?
And we can even go a level deeper. This table breaks it all down. Maybe you're on a skill plateau, where you feel like technology is just leaving you in the dust. Or what about a salary plateau, where your responsibilities keep growing but your paycheck sure hasn't? Just look at these different drivers and the psychological impact they have. Pinpointing your exact location is the first step in drawing yourself a new map.
All right, now for the really good part. Let's shift from diagnosis to action. Because the plateau, it's not a dead end. Seriously, think of it more like a signal that you've totally outgrown your current spot and you are ready for the next launch. So let's look at some real-world examples of people who turn that stagnation into a launch pad.
First up, let's talk about a guy named James Sinan. After 15 really successful years at Boeing, he hit a classic hierarchical plateau. He had simply climbed as high as he possibly could within that company's structure. And in his own words, the growth was just gone. I mean, he was ambitious, he was capable, but the internal opportunities had completely dried up. This is a feeling so many of us can relate to, right? It's when your ambition is just way bigger than the box your role has put you in.
So what did he do? He didn't just switch jobs, he made a really strategic pivot. By reframing his skills, he moved from Boeing to a senior program manager role over at Amazon. This wasn't just a vertical jump in responsibility, it was a whole sectoral shift into a new industry. It completely reignited his career.
But hey, leaving your company isn't the only answer. Let's look at another case. This one's all about making a change from right where you are. A marketing specialist was given what's called a dry promotion. More work, more responsibility, but no title change, and most importantly, no more pay. She felt totally undervalued. But instead of getting resentful, she got strategic. She gathered data on everything she'd accomplished, she researched market rates for her new duties, she documented her value, and through a clear, data-driven negotiation, she didn't just get a new title, she secured a 12% raise. That's proof that sometimes the biggest moves happen without you ever having to change your email address. Those stories are pretty inspiring, right? They show that this is totally possible. So now, let's get you equipped with the actual tools and frameworks that they used. This is your toolkit for crafting your own transformation, whether you decide to stay where you are or make a move.
Okay, this framework is so powerful, but it's also really simple. First, diagnose, and I mean get brutally honest about why you're stuck. Second, define success. What does better actually look like for you? Is it more money, more impact, more flexibility? Get specific. And third, take action with what we call micro wins. Don't try to boil the ocean here. Just focus on small, consistent actions that build unstoppable momentum.
Now, if you've decided that staying put is the right move for now, that does not mean you're powerless. This is where a concept called job crafting comes in. And it's basically a proactive way to reshape your current job from the inside out. You can craft your tasks, maybe volunteer for a project that uses a skill you love but you never get to use. You can craft your relationships by, say, seeking out a mentor in a different department. You can even craft your cognition, reframing the purpose of your work so it feels more meaningful to you.
You know, breaking through, especially when you're mid-career, isn't just about what you do, it's about how you show up. This is often called executive presence. And just look at this list: confidence, composure, clarity. The key takeaway here is that you don't develop these by accident. It's about consciously projecting the authority and the competence of the role you want, not just the one you have. It sends a huge signal to leadership that you are ready for that next level.
Okay, we have covered the why, the what, and the how. Now it's time for the when. Let's put all of this together into a concrete, time-bound plan that will take you from insight to real, tangible action in just 2 months.
Here's the plan. The first 30 days are all about discovery and design. Think of this as your research phase. You're auditing your energy, you're researching the market, you're talking to people. Then, in the second month, you shift gears to execution and visibility. Now you act. You launch a quick win project, you apply a new skill, and you make sure that senior leaders see the value you're creating. This is how you build undeniable proof that you're ready for more.
So let's end with this. If there's one single thing you take away from all of this, let it be this idea right here. That feeling of being stuck, that frustration, that boredom, it is not a stop sign. It's a starting gun. It is your career telling you that you've conquered this level and it's time to go find the next one.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Your 60-day plan can start the very moment this ends. Think about it. What is one small, achievable action you can take tomorrow? What's your first micro win that will start to build that momentum forward? The journey from stuck to unstuck, it really does start with that single step.